The silent preparation. Dr. Elena Martinez stood at the window of her underground laboratory, watching holographic projections of data streams flow across the reinforced glass. The facility, buried deep beneath the Atacama Desert, was one of humanity's best-kept secrets. 10 years had passed since they'd first detected the alien signals, and 5 since they'd decoded enough to understand the threat they faced. The Collective, as they called themselves, saw younger civilizations as resources to be harvested. Their philosophy was simple: those who couldn't defend themselves didn't deserve to exist independently. They had no idea that their encrypted communications had been intercepted by a quantum computing experiment in Antarctica. By pure chance, humanity had gained a window into their plans. Elena's fingers traced the edge of her tablet, displaying the latest test results from Project Phoenix. The quantum-entangled neural network they'd developed was learning at an exponential rate, adapting alien technology in ways its original creators had never imagined. The Collective's own encryption had become the key to humanity's technological leap forward. Dr. Martinez called out Dr. James Chen, her colleague and the project's quantum mechanics expert. The latest simulation results are in. The stealth system works. We can effectively mask our energy signatures to appear pre-industrial. Elena nodded, a slight smile playing across her face. The Collective's own arrogance would be their undoing. They were so convinced of their technological superiority that they never considered someone might be able to hide in plain sight. Across the globe, similar facilities worked in concert. Under the guise of normal technological progression, humanity had been preparing for war. Orbital defense platforms disguised as communication satellites, antimatter production facilities hidden in abandoned mines, and quantum weapon arrays concealed beneath the ocean floor, all waiting for the moment they would be needed. The public remained unaware of the true purpose behind the rapid technological advances of the past decade. They celebrated each new breakthrough: clean energy, advanced medical treatments, improved AI, without knowing these were merely byproducts of humanity's preparation for survival. We've detected increased collective activity at the edge of the solar system, announced Colonel Sarah Way, the military liaison to the project. Their survey ships are getting bolder. Intelligence suggests they're preparing for their standard resource assessment protocol. Elena's expression hardened. The Collective's assessment protocol was well documented in their communications. They would send automated probes to scan for resources, evaluate the indigenous species' capability to resist, and then proceed with their standard subjugation procedure if the civilization was deemed sufficiently primitive. How long? Elena asked, already knowing the answer. 3 months, maybe 4, Sarah replied. They're right on schedule according to their standard operations manual. The irony wasn't lost on Elena. The Collective's rigid adherence to procedure, their belief in their own superiority, had allowed humanity to prepare thoroughly. Every step they would take was documented in their own database, giving Earth's defenders a perfect playbook of their enemy's tactics. Begin Phase 2, Elena commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of the decision. Across the facility, lights dimmed momentarily as power was redirected to the quantum core. Similar orders were being given in facilities around the world. The time for preparation was ending. From orbit, Earth would now appear as a primitive world barely beginning to explore space. Their true capabilities, the quantum shields, the antimatter weapons, the AI-driven defense networks, all hidden behind a veil of carefully crafted technological camouflage. Send word to all facilities, Elena continued. Operation Looking Glass is now active. Maintain radio silence except for approved frequencies. Let them think we're nothing more than primitive apes playing with radio waves. As her team moved to execute their orders, Elena returned to the window. Somewhere out there, the Collected ships were approaching, confident in their superiority, unaware they were flying into humanity's carefully laid trap. They would learn, too late, that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology, but their ability to adapt, to innovate, and to turn their enemies' strengths against them. The next few months would determine the fate of humanity. But unlike countless civilizations before them, Earth wouldn't face the collective unprepared. When the time came, humanity would show the galaxy that appearances could be deceiving, and that underestimating humans was a mistake you only made once. Breaking point. The collective survey ship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, its crystalline hull refracting the distant sunlight. Inside, Survey Commander Zextol reviewed the preliminary scans of the Sol system with growing interest. The primitive civilization had progressed slightly faster than their models predicted, but nothing that warranted concern. Analysis complete, Commander reported their chief scientist, Valsha. The species has achieved basic spaceflight capabilities and established a small colony on their fourth planet. Energy signatures suggest early fusion technology. Classification remains at development stage 3. Zextol's secondary eyes blinked in satisfaction, while their primary set remained fixed on the holographic display. Everything was proceeding according to standard protocols. The humans would never detect their presence through the advanced stealth fields, and by the time they realized what was happening, it would be too late. Deep beneath the Atacama Desert, Elena Martinez watched the alien vessel's arrival through quantum-entangled sensors that the collective didn't know existed. Their stealth technology was impressive, but it was designed to hide from conventional detection methods. They never considered that someone might develop alternative means of observation. "They're right where we expected them to be," Colonel Wee noted, studying the tactical display. "Looks like they're following their standard survey pattern to the letter." Elena nodded, but her attention was focused on a different set of readings. "James, are you seeing these energy fluctuations? They're using some kind of quantum-based scanning technology we haven't encountered in their database." Dr. Chen frowned at his own display. "The pattern suggests they're looking for something specific. This isn't part of their standard survey protocol." Before Elena could respond, alarms blared across the facility. Similar alerts were triggering in hidden bases worldwide. The collective ship had launched a network of automated probes, but they weren't the expected resource surveying devices. These were different. "They're deploying a quarantine grid," Colonel Wei announced, her voice tight with concern. "They must have detected something we missed." Elena's mind raced. The quarantine protocol wasn't supposed to happen for at least another month, according to the collective's standard procedures. Something had changed, but what? "New energy signature detected," one of the technicians called out. "They're powering up their main weapon systems." Elena made her decision in an instant. Initiative Omega. Now. Colonel Wei's eyes widened. "That's ahead of schedule. The defense grid isn't fully." "We're out of time." Elena cut her off. "They know something. We move now, or we lose everything we've prepared for." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden assets began to power up. Quantum shields shimmed into existence around Earth and its colonies. Defense platforms emerged from their camouflaged states, and deep beneath the surface of Titan, humanity's true fleet began to rise. Aboard the collective vessel, alarms screamed as their sensors detected the massive power signatures suddenly appearing throughout the system. Zextol stared in disbelief as their tactical display transformed, showing thousands of previously invisible installations and vessels. "Impossible," Valsha whispered. "Their technology. This can't be Stage 3 development. These readings suggest capabilities beyond even our own understanding." "Emergency transmission from command," a communications officer announced. "They're detecting similar revelations across 12 other systems we've been monitoring." This was coordinated. Zextol felt a sensation they had never experienced before. Fear. The humans hadn't just been hiding their capabilities. They had been watching, learning, and preparing. The supposedly primitive species had somehow managed to access collective databases, decode their protocols, and develop countermeasures for every standard procedure. Elena's voice echoed across all frequencies, transmitted in perfect collective speech. "This is Dr. Elena Martinez of Earth's Defense Initiative. Your protocols for dealing with primitive species have been noted, documented, and prepared for. You have two options. immediate withdrawal from our space, or demonstration of exactly why your classification of humanity was a fatal error. The collective ship's sensors detected multiple weapons locks from vessels using technology that by all rights shouldn't exist in this sector of space for another 1,000 years. Their quarantine grid, designed to contain primitive civilizations, was being systematically dismantled by quantum-based countermeasures that reflected centuries of advancement beyond their own understanding. Your response. Elena's voice came again, calm and measured despite the gravity of the moment. Humanity had been pushed to their breaking point. Now it was time to push back. The counterstrike. Commander Zextal's response came in the form of a massive energy surge as the collective vessel's weapon systems charged to full power. If the humans had caught them off guard, they would at least follow proper protocol for dealing with unexpectedly advanced civilizations. Overwhelming force. Target their primary population centers, Zextal ordered, their voice steady despite the situation. Standard subjugation pattern. The collective ship's crystalline hull began to pulse with stored energy, preparing to launch an attack that had brought countless civilizations to their knees. But Elena Martinez had spent years studying exactly this scenario. Execute Protocol Prometheus, she commanded. Across the solar system, human quantum arrays activated simultaneously. The collective ship's energy surge didn't dissipate, it reversed. Their own weapon systems began feeding back into their power core, creating a cascade that threatened to overwhelm their safeguards. Impossible. Valsha screamed, their appendages flying across control surfaces. They're using our own energy signature against us. The weapons, they're not just failing, they're becoming a liability. Colonel Wei's voice came across their command channel, a hint of satisfaction evident despite her professional tone. Your weapons technology relies on quantum-aligned particle acceleration. We've spent years learning how to detect, replicate, and reverse those patterns. Would you like to see what else we've learned? From Jupiter's orbit, a fleet of ships emerged from quantum shadows. They didn't bear the sleek, crystalline aesthetics of collective vessels. Human ships were angular, practical, and bristling with weapons that combined stolen collective technology with humanity's own innovations. All ships, execute attack pattern Delta, Colonel Wei commanded. Show them what humanity does when backed into a corner. The human fleet moved with precision that defied the collective's understanding of tactical doctrine. Instead of forming standard attack formations, they seemed to flow like water, each vessel moving independently, yet part of a greater whole. Their attack pattern made no sense until the collective realized their fatal error. They were being herded. Multiple quantum signatures detected, Valsha reported frantically. They're creating localized space-time distortions. Elena watched from her command center as humanity's true advantage revealed itself. The collective had mastered quantum mechanics, but they used it in rigid, predictable ways. Humanity had taken their fundamental understanding and twisted it into something new, something unpredictable. The space around the collective vessel began to warp and twist. Human ships fired weapons that didn't just deliver energy or matter. They delivered chaos. Quantum torpedoes that created microscopic time dilation fields. Gravity lances that temporarily rewrote local physics, the impossible made manifest through human ingenuity. Your species prizes order, Elena transmitted to the increasingly desperate collective ship. You believe the universe can be categorized, controlled, and conquered through proper protocols. But humanity, we thrive in chaos. We don't just adapt to it, we weaponize it. The collective vessel's shields, designed to defend against conventional energy and kinetic attacks, prove useless against weapons that attack the fabric of space-time itself. Their hull began to buckle as localized gravity fields pulled it in multiple directions simultaneously. Stop. Zextal's transmission carried genuine fear. You don't understand what you're doing. These weapons, they violate fundamental universal constants. No, Elena corrected. They violate what you believe to be fundamental universal constants. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our willingness to question everything, even the supposed laws of physics themselves. The human fleet continued its assault, each attack demonstrating a new impossibility. Weapons that shouldn't exist, tactics that defied conventional strategy, and technology that combined stolen knowledge with human creativity in ways the collective had never imagined. Your surrender will be transmitted to your entire species, Alina continued, along with this message. Humanity is not your prey. We are not a resource to be harvested or a civilization to be subjugated. We are your worst nightmare, a species that took your own technology and made it dance to our own tune. The collective vessel, once proud and certain of its superiority, hung crippled in space. Its crystalline hull, fractured by weapons it couldn't understand, reflected the light of distant stars like a broken mirror, a perfect metaphor for the shattering of the collective's worldview. Perhaps, Alina added, her voice carrying a weight that transcended species, it's time for your civilization to learn what it truly means to evolve. Not through conquest, but through cooperation. What's your choice? The revelation. The collective's High Council chamber fell silent as they watched the footage from Zextal's ship. The crystalline walls, normally shimmering with the combined knowledge of 1,000 conquered civilizations, seemed dimmer somehow. Supreme Counselor Vexthor's primary eyes narrowed as the recording ended, showing their prized survey vessel helpless before weapons that shouldn't exist. How? The question echoed through the chamber. How did they advance so quickly? Our models are perfect. Our protocols have subjugated hundreds of species. What makes these humans different? Dr. Alina Martinez stood before the emergency session of the High Council, transmitted via quantum hologram. Her presence here, uninvited, unescorted, and using technology that matched their own, was itself a demonstration of humanity's capabilities. Your mistake, Alina explained, her voice carrying across the vast chamber, was believing that advancement must follow a linear path. You categorize civilizations based on predictable technological progression. But humanity, we skip steps. We take shortcuts. We see possibilities where you see impossibilities. The council chamber's walls flickered as Alina's quantum systems interfaced with their archives, displaying footage from Earth's history. Wars, peace treaties, technological leaps, artistic achievements, a tapestry of human experience. Look at our history, Alina continued. In less than 70 years, we went from our first powered flight to walking on our moon. In a single century, we progressed from basic radio to quantum communications. We don't follow your careful, measured paths of development. We sprint, we leap, we fall and get back up, stronger for the experience. Valsha, now serving as scientific advisor to the council, stepped forward. But the physics, the quantum mechanics involved in your weapons, they shouldn't be possible. You've barely had 2 centuries of modern scientific development. Alina smiled. That's because you assume there's only one way to understand the universe. Your civilization spent millennia developing quantum technology through careful, methodical research. We looked at it differently. Where you saw immutable laws, we saw guidelines. Where you sought to work within the rules, we asked why those rules existed in the first place. Images appeared around the chamber. Human scientists working in hidden facilities, combining stolen collective technology with Earth innovations in ways that defied conventional understanding. Quantum mechanics merged with human intuition. Artificial intelligence partnered with human creativity. The impossible made possible through sheer determination and unconventional thinking. Your civilizations advance through conquest, Alina observed. You take technology from others, integrate it into your own, but always following the same patterns. Humanity, we advance through necessity, through crisis, through the constant drive to prove that something impossible is merely improbable. Supreme Counselor Vexthor rose from their crystalline throne. You could have revealed yourselves earlier, joined the collective as equals. Why the deception? Why allow us to believe you were primitive? Because we needed to understand you first, Alina replied. Your databases, your protocols, your very way of thinking, All of it helped us prepare. Every piece of technology you used to study us became a window through which we studied you. And what we learned was both fascinating and troubling. The chamber's walls now showed scenes from dozens of worlds, civilizations that had fallen to the collective's guidance, each one now part of a carefully ordered, rigidly controlled empire that spanned galaxies. You bring order, Elena acknowledged, but at the cost of innovation, of creativity. You've conquered the stars, but you've stopped reaching for them. Your technology is powerful, but it hasn't fundamentally changed in 10,000 years. You've achieved perfection at the cost of progression. Murmurs spread through the council chamber as the truth of her words sank in. The collective had become so focused on maintaining order that they'd forgotten how to evolve. So here is humanity's proposal, Elena declared, her hologram now standing at the center of the chamber. Not surrender, either yours or ours. Instead, we offer partnership. You have knowledge accumulated over millennia. We have the ability to see that knowledge in new ways, to find paths you never considered. Together, we could reshape the galaxy not through conquest, but through collaboration. The council chamber erupted in discussion, ancient protocols warring with new possibilities. For the first time in thousands of years, the collective faced something they couldn't categorize or control, a species that offered not submission or resistance, but transformation. New dawn. 5 years after humanity's revelation to the collective, the Sol system had transformed. Where once Earth stood alone, now a bustling network of stations and shipyards orbited the planet, each one a testament to the unprecedented partnership between humanity and the collective. Elena Martinez stood aboard the newly commissioned research station, Convergence, watching ships from a dozen different species dock and depart. The massive structure, suspended at Earth's L5 point, represented everything they'd fought to achieve. Not dominance, but collaboration. The latest results from Project Synthesis are in, Dr. James Chen announced, joining her at the observation window. The human collective hybrid quantum processors are showing a 300% improvement over previous designs. Turns out our chaotic approach to quantum mechanics actually stabilizes their more structured systems. Elena nodded, remembering the battles they'd fought to reach this point. Not all members of the collective had embraced change willingly. Some had clung to their old protocols, refusing to accept that their perfect system could be improved. But the results spoke for themselves. Supreme Counselor Vexthor's ship is approaching, Colonel Wei reported, now serving as Earth's military liaison to the collective. They're here for the demonstration. The demonstration. Elena felt her pulse quicken. Today would either vindicate their partnership or prove their critics right. 5 years of combined research, human intuition merged with collective knowledge, all leading to this moment. Vexthor's crystalline vessel, now modified with human innovations, docked smoothly with the station. The Supreme Counselor had become one of their strongest advocates, recognizing that the collective's stagnation had been its greatest weakness. Dr. Martinez, Vexthor greeted her, their translator perfectly matching human speech patterns, another product of their collaboration. Are we ready to make history again? Elena led the delegation to the station's core, where a device unlike anything in known space waited. It wasn't beautiful like collective technology, nor purely functional like human designs. It was something new, a hybrid of both approaches. The Gateway Project represents everything we've learned from each other, Elena explained. Collective precision merged with human creativity. Their understanding of quantum mechanics enhanced by our willingness to push boundaries. The device hummed to life, its hybrid systems creating something that neither civilization could have achieved alone. A controlled quantum tunnel through space-time itself. Not the brute force approach of conventional faster-than-light travel, but something more elegant, more efficient, and infinitely more powerful. Early tests suggest we can reduce interstellar travel time by a factor of 10, James reported. More importantly, it requires only a fraction of the energy of traditional FTL drives. Vexthor's secondary eyes widened in amazement. You've done what we thought impossible. You found a way to improve upon perfection. No, Elena corrected gently. We've shown that perfection isn't a destination, it's a journey. The moment you think you've achieved it is the moment you stop growing. Across the galaxy, similar collaborations were bearing fruit. Collective worlds that had known only rigid order for millennia were experiencing a renaissance of innovation. Human colonies, tempered by collective wisdom, were advancing at unprecedented rates while avoiding the mistakes of the past. We've received requests from 30 more species wanting to join the partnership program, Colonel Wei reported. Former collective protectorates who want to contribute their own perspectives. Elena smiled. This was what they'd really been fighting for, not just humanity's survival, but the chance to build something greater. The collective had sought to impose order on the galaxy. Humanity had shown them that true strength came from embracing diversity, from challenging assumptions, from being willing to fail in the pursuit of something greater. Send word to Earth's Council and the collective high command, Elena instructed. The Gateway project is ready for full implementation. It's time to show the galaxy what we can achieve together. As she watched the quantum tunnel stabilize, creating a bridge to distant stars, Elena reflected on how far they'd come. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged not just survived, but transformed. The collective had faced obsolescence and found renewal. Together, they'd proven that the greatest achievements come not from conquest or submission, but from the willingness to learn from each other. The galaxy was entering a new age, not one of rigid protocols or chaos, but of balance, the perfect harmony between order and innovation, between tradition and progress, between the wisdom of ages and the dreams of tomorrow. This was humanity's true victory, not defeating an enemy, but gaining a partner. Not settling for survival, but reaching for transformation. The stars themselves seemed brighter now, beckoning not just humanity, but all species toward a future limited only by their collective imagination and courage to explore it. The dawn of a new era had arrived, and its light would illuminate the galaxy for generations to come.